Welcome back to the PT Graduate Podcast. Today, my guest, Mr. James Earls. Welcome, James. Great to see you.
It's good to be here. Good to be here.
Yeah, thank you, and I really appreciate you giving up weekend time for our chat. It's very kind of you, very generous. So yes, let's roll into it. So, James, you've been in the health industry for a number of years, and you've done a number of different roles. You were just saying currently at Lifecare, but I'm keen to kind of understand a little bit about what you do, but also how you got to what you're doing now, and some of those other things that you've done historically. Because I think for people listening, this is about helping people in the industry be successful, stay in the industry, and do well. But there are lots of other pathways in this industry, not specifically PT, or someone who has PT background, then going, following different pathways as their career develops. And I think that's why I wanted to talk to you, because you've done that, and you've worked for different organizations. And I think it's quite an interesting story, I think, that people should hear.
Yeah. Well, as you know, we all have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
We all have to start somewhere. And when I arrived in, I'm going to start from the beginning.
Sure thing.
When I arrived in New Zealand about 20 years ago.
Ah.
And I went, I studied at Unitech.
Yeah.
And I did a diploma, but I did it over a 3-year period. And I wanted to sort of change things. I wanted to do is I wanted to sort of focus on health and well-being.
Yeah.
And obviously fitness as well, because fitness is it's just a word that's been thrown around a lot lately. And especially in the sporting environment, you hear about they didn't play well because the fitness levels weren't up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wanted to sort of get involved in that. And the hardest part for me doing that was studying, because I hadn't studied for years.
Right.
And I was way out of my comfort zone. And I went, oh, how am I going to do this? And, you get to a stage where you feel like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
And I had never used a computer.
Okay. All right.
I'd never done an assignment. And all these kind of things were really sort of, these were the challenges. I went, when I started studying and I started doing all of, learning about, doing exercise physiology, papers on, sports psychology and coaching as well. I think coaching was the key for me to sort of, how to approach people and, how to train them. But that's something that you learn as you go along. Yeah. It's not something that anyone can teach you. It can give you the tools to be able to give them the tools.
Yep.
But it's how you do it in your way, in your personal way, because it's crucial that you can connect with people. And if you can't connect with people, it's going to be harder for you. Yeah. And it's going to be a bigger challenge. But that's the key for any kind of coaching and training people, is the art of being able to talk to people and adapt to the way people are, because everyone's different. Everyone is different. And so for me, it was a journey that I really, really enjoyed. And I started off I'm going to say where I started off. I started off working at Les Mills in New Lynn. That's where I started where I started my journey. And wow, it was great. It was absolutely fantastic. You learn from other trainers. You look around and you go, wow, this trainer does it like that. That trainer does it like that, and that trainer does it like that. Yeah. So you're trying to find your feet and trying to sort of gather that information. Say, how am I going to do it? And I'm not going to deny it. It was hard work.
Yeah.
It's hard work. You could give people programs, you could give people a lot of programs, exercise programs, but how you deliver that program is what the key is. You got to educate them. You got to show them that this is what you need, or this is how long it's going to take you, and run them through the process, and be real. Be real. Don't sort of say, all right, you can do this in two weeks. Matter of fact, someone might be able to do it in 2 weeks, and somebody else mightn't be able to do it in 2 weeks. It's. But I'm very like, as I went along in my career, you sort of learn all of that.
Yes.
You learn with at that stage. I didn't know who I was, what could I say, how can I put this? My market was going to be.
Yeah.
I didn't know. So I just had to discover it as I went along. And as I went along, that's exactly what I discovered. And I could work with anybody, but I just wanted to sort of narrow it down a little bit more. And I ended up in the industry. I ended up working with a lot of people who were very stressed in their life,
Right.
And they were in high demanding jobs, high demanding positions.
Yeah.
And they were really and they needed a segue to get them to where they want to be. And exercise was one of that things. I think exercise is underrated.
Agreed.
It's really, really underrated. And you really sort of say to yourself that you want people to appreciate that they can actually move, because in a nutshell, we are designed to move. We're not designed to sit down. What we should be doing now is standing up, doing doing this,
moving more
and moving a little bit more. But as time went along for me in the industry, I sort of I wanted to try. I'm going to jump ahead of myself here. I wanted to try something else. I wanted opportunities to be able to transfer those skills into other areas. And in the fitness industry, you're dealing with people, you're helping people, you're giving people direction, you're coaching people. Sometimes you even end up becoming a psychologist. Because it's such a it's because people need, as I said to you before, some people need exercise to help them deal with everyday life. And that's what it's all about. And that's why I say exercise is underrated, because I believe that sometimes you can become one-dimensional, and it could be just all about losing weight or getting hard abs. But it's not about that. It's about everything. The whole holistic approach that needs to be sort of addressed about exercise, But it's exercise, physical activity, just running around the park with your family, with your friends, kicking the ball around and all that. It's movement, and that's what we need to do. We need to educate people more on movement. But and I still do that. I still do that. I still do that in a different way. And I've been in the well-being. I did well-being like in mostly every job that I've done since then. And you've seen what I've.
I didn't have the Les Mills bit. I had the YMCA. So did Les Mills come before YMCA?
Yes, that was at the start.
Yeah,
that was at the start. I wanted to shorten this.
So you certainly had that exercise and gym environment background, but you've done some other work in construction with sort of, I guess that's more mental health side of things. Ryman with COVID and their well-being, and then now with Lifecare. So different environments, but still within that same health space, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's with Ryman, it was the health and safety. Like with Ryman, with COVID, okay, I'm going to say here, COVID was such an integral part of people's lives for a while, and it really disrupted a lot of people's lives. And it, especially people, like I was working as I said, in the construction. And in the construction industry, there's a lot of rules and regulations about coming onto the sites and what you had to do, and you know, things like that, wearing the mask wearing and mandates and all this kind of stuff that was really sort of being an integral part of COVID, just to keep people safe. So well-being was a big thing, but it's how you, 'cause things were changing every day. So it's how you address that. Getting back to the coaching side of things, how you talk to people. It's how you address people. It's how you give them that information. They might not all agree with you.
Yep.
I'll agree with the processes and stuff like that, but it's something that we had to deal with. You know, I always say that. I always say that the job is the easy part. The people are the hard part.
But that's common to all those environments as well, isn't it? Right? You know, there's that human interaction thing, and you know, your ability to work with different personalities is tested certainly in times like COVID, because when people are under a level of stress that is new to them, they can revert to type, and sometimes that is less easy to deal with.
Yeah, 100%. You have to learn how to talk to them, and the biggest thing is the listening part of the thing. You know, it's no point in getting into an argument about things, because otherwise you'll just bring the whole situation down. In a situation where there's a lot of people, it spirals. It's very easy to spiral. So you want to avoid that sort of confrontation within that working environment. You know, so it was a challenge, but you know what? Everyone has a challenge in their life, and I think COVID challenged everybody.
It did, on all levels, you know, so personal, professional, relational, you know, stuck in a house with people that you only see it in the evenings and the weekends, and suddenly, you know, it turned things upside down for some people, I know. But you know,
the fitness industry would have been absolutely hammered around that time, because a lot of people were a lot of trainers. I felt for the trainers, because a lot of the trainers out there who were working for themselves, that absolutely, that was a big dent for them. That was a big, and that would have put them under a lot of mental stress, a lot of worry, you know. And I would have, but in saying that, there's a lot of trainers out there who are very innovative. They'll find a way actually make it work, not only for them but for the people who are needed. And this is where the well-being things come in, because you're going to be working with people who are in a bad headspace, and exercise and movement and even interaction would have been good for them. Even if it's online, it's still very, very effective. That's why I say sort of exercise and well-being are sort of these tools that we should, you know, turn to every now and again to help us sort of cope with, you know, coping strategies and things like that, you know. So it's a real good thing.
Yeah, it was an interesting time, wasn't it? Because when we were into those early lockdowns, the activity levels generally went up because people realized they had a little bit more time in their day. They didn't have to commute. But sadly, my understanding of the stats now is we've kind of got back to whatever the new norm is post-COVID. Activity levels are actually lower than they were pre-COVID. So not only do we have, you know, a drop in movement levels, they're probably going to be higher levels of mental fallout challenges as a result of what's happened because of financial impact and various other different things. So we're dealing with a lot of clearing up, I suppose, both physically and mentally as a result.
See, a lot of people would have sort of moved away to what they did before, and moved on to something else. You know, so it could have, and you know, you're going to feel the effects of it for a while until we discover that, you know, it's about building resilience. And I think once you build that resilience, things will come right. And it's about sticking together as well, you know. These things, it tested us more. There's no two ways about that. It tested us, you know what I mean? So it tested the world. I mean, it tested the world, but like, you know, it's something. It's slowly happening. People are getting back on their feet and things like that. You know,
good.
Few change. There's a few changes, but we're getting there.
Is that what you're seeing out there with the different things that you're doing now, James? Are you having contact with various different groups and that sort of sense of things improving is happening out there?
Yeah, you know what? Oh, where can I put this? There is that sense. People have that sense. They're more relaxed. Okay.
Right, right.
From what I've seen, but there's still it'll still always be there.
Yeah.
Every time you have a conversation with somebody,
Mm.
pops up. Like not now, it popped up.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I
it.
mean?
That's it.
You
Yeah.
know, it popped up, and it'll continue popping up. It'll go into history books for not two
Mm.
ways about it. It'll go into the history books, but that conversation is going to be always popping up. But people are getting there, and
Good.
judging, like, even when I was like at Ryman, and I was working there, and I
Mm.
seen the after effects the of uh of COVID, when the
Mm.
rules and regulations started, everything started getting a bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
People were still sort of still talking about it. Some people I spoke to lost their homes,
Yeah. Yeah.
because they were running out of money. They were renting.
Right.
They had to move on, and they always
Yeah.
had to rely on family.
Right.
And now, sort of, I haven't spoken to as many people who are in that position now.
Right.
So obviously things could be working, but obviously I don't know what people's going through people's lives now at the moment. But the feeling is that people have moved on.
There's That's good to hear. I still think there's an element of conditioning that's stuck with us though, because all the rules and regs have gone now, but there's still COVID around, and people still have their testing kits, so they get a cold, and sometimes they've only got a cold, and sometimes they actually have COVID. But
Yeah,
because they get COVID, their brain immediately goes, "Oh, I need to isolate. I need to stay home for 5 days."
you don't have to.
No, and you don't have to, but that's ingrained now. That's my
Yeah,
sense of. And
yeah,
yeah, you don't want to share your germs, but treat it like anything else, right? If you're not well, stay home, get better,
yeah.
get on with things again. Obviously, if you are able to, and it hasn't wiped you out. But it's funny how there's that little bit of a tale of it's COVID, so therefore we have to behave slightly differently.
Well, there's a lot more places, um, workplaces now are focusing on, if as you just said there, if you're sick, you just stay at home.
Yeah, yeah,
And and you still see that. And like last week, I was what, like I was sick,
yeah,
and so like I stayed at home. Um, so it was just, yeah, it was just one of them things that we have to do now. But
yeah,
companies are beginning to take it on board that if you're sick, you stay home. As before, people were sick. Oh, I'll just take this, I'll take that, and I'll go in.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
that's fine.
yeah.
But I think people, going back to the thing, like, the after effects.
Mm,
Companies are still, and businesses are still are going now. They're going, whoa, I don't want this to happen. I don't want that to happen. You
mm,
know, I don't want.
mm,
I don't want. We don't want COVID around our business and stuff like that. So there,
yeah,
it is there, and we are aware of it, and we have to embrace that now. We can't
mm.
just go.
Right.
I'm going to go into work, because you'll get
Mm,
sent home again.
mm,
You know what I
mm.
mean? We have to accept all of that and things like that. But
Absolutely.
but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's okay. It's okay. Like, we just have to adapt, and as humans, we
yeah.
can adapt. You know what I
That's
mean?
right. We're very good at doing that, aren't we?
Yeah, and because I think it's because we have to, really.
Mm, mm,
You know
mm,
what I
mm.
mean?
Well, we've survived this long, and I think that's mainly due to adaptation, right? So
Oh,
just
100%.
keep on adapting.
Oh, we have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me a bit more about your sort of your day to day, James, so I get a sense of the work involved. Because, like I said at the beginning, when people take different paths but stay within that health space, it's interesting to understand what those other pathways are, and what sort of work's involved. And you talked about the transferable skills, the people skills. Obviously, that's very much involved with what you're doing. But
Yeah.
what's the day to day like for you?
For now, with this new, with
Yeah,
what I do now.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I'm not long in it.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I've just started this
Mm,
position, and
mm,
I'm enjoying it. The big, because we present to people,
Right.
and it's all about content and being able to
Okay.
give people, educate the people that are standing in front of you.
Yeah.
It's it's one of these things that people, when people hear that information, our goal is to make sure that they have that information and they're able to use that information that we give them,
Sure.
and that they're able to ask questions, because you know yourself, like, and sometimes people are afraid to ask questions, especially in a crowded room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's one of these things that we encourage people to do.
Sure.
For example, with the first aid segment, and like, we encourage people to, if something happens, take action straight away. And we go from first aid to the to the um to the doctors and the nurses and all that, to the advanced care. So we and all the things that are in between that we need to educate them on.
Yeah.
And it's fun. And a lot of people, you'd be surprised that there are a lot of people know about it. They know about first aid and things like that. But also, on the other hand, you got people who are afraid to do it because they're afraid that they might cause further damage.
Yeah.
And it's getting that fear, and that's understandable, because you're working with people's lives and things like that.
Yep. I guess
For
if you
me,
haven't,
yeah.
sorry.
No, you go ahead. No, you go.
I was going to say, from a first aid point of view, it's interesting. Whenever you do your refresher, they always ask, "Has anyone been involved in any first aid incidents?" They want to know if anyone's done the actual hands-on stuff.
Yeah.
And not very many people put their hands up. It's not very
100%.
often. There's maybe one or two in the room.
Yeah.
And so that confidence would ebb away if you haven't really done it.
Well, I think we're going to get back to the transferable skills. Like, this is where your sort of your transferable skills comes into action. So you're going to educate them. You want to make them feel comfortable about doing something that is out of their comfort zone. Because I always say this: if you come across something, you are a part of a team, because you're there to help that individual, whoever needs the help, or individuals who need help. So you're part of a team of people, and that's what I encourage. Like, I've had an acronym in my head. It's called FAT. It's called FAT, believe it or not.
FAT.
First aid team. First aid team.
Okay.
When you're part of a when you're doing first aid, part of a team, because you're getting people to do different duties, or somebody's asking you to do something, or someone's asking you to get defib, or dial 111, or a first aid kit, things like that. So to have all of these kind of little things that you can do for the individual, otherwise it'll be absolute chaos.
So you're rarely on your own in those situations, are you? So there's people around.
Unless you're Bear Grylls, but anyway.
In the middle of nowhere. Stitching your own arm back on.
Or Rambo or
whatever. So first aid is one component, and you talked about health and safety and mental health as well.
Yeah, I haven't got involved in that with this in here as well, but I was involved for a short time with mates.
Yeah.
Construction. I was there working with them for a short time. It's and I'm glad I've worked within there, and I'm glad I've worked within the construction industry, because I have to see it for yourself. We're all humans, and humans, we're a very delicate species. And things trigger us. But we'd have to learn how to deal with them, or else support people who are learning who want to deal with them. Or we're talking about people, especially in the male contingency. Males do not talk.
Not very good, are we?
We're just we don't talk. So it's about getting people to open up. And support and all that. Again, that's the transferable skills.
Yes.
That's the trauma in there. That's the chats that you have. That's the listening segment that you have. And it's the listening and getting them the help that they need, because we're not psychologists or counselors or anything like that. So it's getting them. It's all about in exercise and all that. It's all about trust. and
Yeah.
trust is such an important aspect of that kind of work, you know.
Mm.
So I met a lot of interesting people. You hear a lot of interesting stories, and like one of my professions that I did, which was transferable as well with the job, was traveling around doing DNA testing.
Yeah.
And that was an interesting. You hear a lot of stories, but again,
Mm.
you have to gain people's trust. You have to be non-judgmental. You have to just go in there and give them the help that they need, no matter what
Yeah.
the circumstances are, and not judge them the minute you start speaking to them. So we just, yeah, there's a lot of judgment. Like, there's a lot of judgment out there, but you can't. You know what I mean? You just, yeah, everyone's got
You're
this.
right.
Everyone's
You're
got
right.
this.
Yeah, you're right. It's meeting them where they're at, isn't it? Because everybody's at a different stage, but they all need help in some way. And as you know, one of our survival instincts is to weigh someone up very, very quickly when you walk into a room. Are they a threat, or are they, someone who is a friend on a
Yeah,
real basic, on a sort of a real basic level? And then, of course, the frontal cortex kicks in, and you shake hands, and you're very friendly to each other, but
yeah,
that initial first second or two, there's like a basic assessment, and that civilized part of our brain needs to make sure it operates very, very quickly.
yeah.
Otherwise, that judgmental part can just continue, and that's not helpful.
So it happens so easy.
Mm,
It
mm,
happens so easily. So we just have to learn how to sort of, again, that's how we talk about adaptation. Just adapt.
mm,
You know what I mean? And
mm.
talk to the people, because some people just need a chat.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all it takes. Some people just need the simple, hey, how you doing? Or shake the
Mm,
hands,
mm, mm,
and you connect with the eyes, and you connect with your expressions and things like that. So
mm, mm.
and that's how you do it. And the thing about it is, it's you won't get on with everybody.
No,
You just won't get on with
no.
everybody, and that's huge. And but it's something that we just have to accept in life. That we just, yeah. Sometimes it's a good feeling that oh, you know yourself. You just
Yeah,
know
you do.
yourself. You get that sense.
And I think that goes back to what you talked about, when you're in the gym, is that finding your ideal client. You need to work with a number of them before you realize the ones that sort of raise your energy and you have the most fun working with.
Yeah,
And that helps you go, I think these are my people. Because as like you say, you're not going to get on with everyone. So the ones you really do get on with, that's where you want to spend your energy.
you just hit on it there. You said fun,
Mm, mm.
fun. You know, have fun. Like, exercise can be fun.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, if you can't laugh at yourself, well, who can you laugh at? You know what I
exactly,
mean?
exactly.
And
Not
like,
take yourself too seriously.
believe you me, like, an example of that was a few years ago. I couldn't skip to save my life,
Yeah,
and and I was laughing at myself because they were videoing me doing it, and I just
yeah,
laughed. Simple things like that.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it was a running joke, but like, it's just one of them things that you do, and you just do it. You know,
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah,
you just do it, and have that sort of, you know, you know, yeah, you had that fun with people,
yeah,
and
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, it's I enjoyed it. That industry is just it's fantastic. When I was there, it was just, it was
Mm,
fantastic. But
mm,
again,
mm.
it's the people that make it.
Absolutely,
It's the,
absolutely.
it's the people that make it. And then when you go in, because I attended a couple of the awards a
Are
few
you?
years ago. Yeah,
Yep.
and I got nominated for Personal Trainer of the Year there one of the years. I
Ooh.
forget what year it was, but that was good enough for me, because like, I was getting recognized for the work
Mm.
that I was doing, and there was another guy in the same place. He got the same, a
Yeah,
junior,
yeah.
and like, it's people appreciate you,
Yes.
when you actually do it. But when I see the room, and when I was there, and I was like going, wow, you don't realize how many's out there.
Yeah, that's
I don't
right.
realize how
Yeah.
many's out there,
Yeah,
you
when you
know.
get them in one room, it's like, geez.
And that was fantastic though. Every like-minded people,
Mm, mm, mm,
you had all these people, and we're sort of all doing this, like, doing the same thing.
mm.
what we don't realize, and this is something that I thought about, what I don't realize is we don't, as trainers, sometimes we don't see that ourselves, that we're helping other people. But the biggest thing that I used to say to people was, they used to say to me, thanks very much. And I go, thank you. No, I said, thank you. I'd say, thank you. Because I said, they're the people who put the work in. All we did was give them the tools to be able to do that. But they're the ones who did all of the work.
True.
You know? So this is the messages that it is rewarding. It is rewarding. There's no two ways about it. It is rewarding. And yeah, but so as I said to you before, now it's with no skills to use elsewhere. You know, so it was good. It was good. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, some really, really useful skills. I like to pick people's brains towards the end by saying, you know, what are your top tips? What are the things that have stood the test of time? And I think you probably alluded to some of those transferable skills, James. But any others that stand out for you in terms of you know, things to pass on to other people that worked for you and may still work for you?
Yourself. Simple as that. Be yourself.
Yeah.
Adapt to the for fitness and clientele. Adapt to the clients. Listen to the client. It's not only about just going, okay, give me 3 push-ups, have the workout with them, and then walk away. It's about what you can continuously do for them. Even if you're not there, give them the odd phone call. Listen to what they have to say. If let them tell you what's if they have an issue, get that trust that they can talk to you about it with regards to their goals and their motivations and all that, because people get unmotivated. It's up to you to try and see if you can get that motivation back, you know. But as I said to you before, be yourself. Just be yourself. Go out there, be yourself, and do what you enjoy, and share that knowledge. And because one day, that person that you share that knowledge with might share that knowledge onto somebody else. So you pass that.
The
wisdom. You pass the wisdom on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's the ripples. Yep.
It is 100%. So you want to carry on. You want to carry on doing that. So just be yourself.
Brilliant.
You know.
Brilliant.
Otherwise, I don't want to overcomplicate it.
I think you're right, James. You talked about, you know, you're keeping it simple and using layman's language, and I think we can easily slip into jargon mode very easily. But you're absolutely right. We need to be, you know, careful how we speak, what we say, how we say it. But at the end of the day, being yourself is probably the most important thing, isn't it? That authentic self, because nobody else can be.
100%. And you know what? People will remember that. Remember that. They'll remember oh, I went training with this person and they did this, they did that. It was fantastic. But you know, the biggest thing is that it's what they were like. It's what it's how they were like. Everyone gets on with, like, as humans, we get on with different types of people, like, you know, and we don't all get on with the same type of people, if that makes sense.
It does. You
know. So
absolutely.
So carry on, be yourself. Have fun, do the work.
Brilliant. Awesome. That's great, James. I've scribbled those ones down. I'll be putting those into the show notes. If anyone wanted to get hold of you and have a further chat about what you do and how you do it, what would be a good way to find you?
LinkedIn.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I'm quite easy. Or let's give you a shout.
Go. Sure, James, I'll just hand your card out.
There's no problem at all. You can be my secretary.
I'll put your LinkedIn bio in the show notes, and they can find you directly. Thanks, James.
Brilliant.
That's awesome. Look, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I really want to say thank you again for you know, giving away some of your weekend time, and it's much appreciated. Great to chat, and thanks very much for your wise words.
Well, thanks for having me. Tomorrow's Monday.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
have a good week. Thanks, James. Have a good week.
All right, you too. Take it easy.